Repeat. Thank you. This meeting is being held fully remote via Zoom. The webinar ID is 819-527-16035. As required by the open meeting law, we are informing you that the district will be videotaping this public meeting. In addition, if anyone else intends to either video or audio tape this meeting, they are required to inform the chair. Great. So I understand that Arlene and Moira, you work together for the attendance? Yep.
Hi,
Okay.
Kristen. Yes, we have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Great. Good. Thank you. So as this is a reorganization meeting, are there any motions for a new chair? Judy.
I nominate Maura Noonan-Carey to continue on.
Great. Thank you. Moira, do you accept this nomination?
I do.
Great. Then do I have a second?
Second.
I think I have about 32 seconds, but Carrie, I saw your hand first. Thank you. Then we'll go to a vote. And I'll just roll call, and please state whether you affirm this nomination of Moira as the chair. Richard Draper,
Yes.
Chris Easley,
Yes.
Tom Fitzgibbon,
Yes.
Carrie Hoffman,
Yes.
Heather Mashad,
Yes.
Catherine Lonsdale,
She was here.
She was driving, so she may be in and out, I think.
yeah, I see her name. So maybe we'll come back. Moira?
Yes.
Noonan? Katie Cole? Okay, I don't see her either. Judy Schumacher?
Yes,
Josh Stewart?
he's not here.
Okay. Katie Jacobus?
Jacobus, yes.
Jacobus, great, thank you. Carol?
I don't believe Carol's with us tonight.
Okay. Judy Leck?
Yes.
Steve Leibowitz?
Yes.
Sarah Sherman?
Yes.
Ann Crozier? No. Devin O'Rourke?
Yes.
Monica?
Yes.
Deborah Raymond?
Yes.
Sarah Higgins?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yes. Great, thanks. Gail Briere?
Gail Briere, yes.
Ian Mack? No. Ginger Marks?
Ginger Marks, yes.
Kathy McNamara?
Yes.
Cassandra Roach?
Cassandra Roach, yes.
Laura Baghetti?
Laura Baghetti, yes.
Martha Gordon?
Martha Gordon, yes.
Joan Zukas?
She's here. I saw her.
Joan Zukas, yes.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Thank you. Lauren Hill?
Yes, here.
And Melissa Lynch?
Melissa Lynch is not on tonight.
Okay, great. And let me just go back. Carol?
If that's Carol Jelinek, she's not here tonight.
I think it was
Okay.
Catherine Lonsdale that you were going to go back to.
Oh, yeah, Catherine Lonsdale, sorry.
Catherine Lonsdale, yes.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So your chair is selected as Moira Noonan-Carey, and now I am handing over the meeting to our new chair.
Thanks, Kristen. I appreciate it. And thank you all for your support. The next order of business is I'm looking for nominations for a vice chair. Or if anybody wants to volunteer to be vice chair. Judy.
I'm not volunteering. Trust me, I'm not volunteering. Isn't Sassy the vice chair now? I will nominate Sassy to continue her good work.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Sassy, do you accept that nomination?
I do. It's a heavy lift, but I'll do it.
All right. Let's see. So we're gonna go through go through the list quickly again. To make this vote, Richard Draper. Okay, did we lose him? We'll come back. Chris Easley,
He's on
Yes.
mute.
Tom Fitzgibbons,
Yes.
Carrie Hoffman,
Yes.
Heather Mashad,
Yes.
Catherine Lonsdale,
Catherine Lonsdale, yes.
Maura Noonan Carey, yes. Katie Cole,
Yes.
Judy Schumacher.
Yes,
Did Josh join us? I don't see him. No. Okay. Katie Jacobus,
Katie Jacobus, yes.
Judy Leck,
Judy Leck, yes.
Steve Leibowitz,
Steve, yes.
Sarah Sherman,
Yes.
Ann Crozier, not Ann, Devin O'Rourke,
Yes.
Monica Montoya Quintero,
Yes.
Deborah Raymond,
Yes.
Sarah Higgins,
Yes.
Gail Briere.
Gail Breer, yes.
Excuse me, Moira Ann Crozier. I did get in on the
Oh,
meeting.
nice. Hi,
Later
Ann.
arriving, sorry.
Ann Crozier.
Yes.
All right, where was I? I got Sarah, right? Did I get Sarah Higgins? Yeah, I did. Okay. Gail, I got Gail. We didn't get Ann. Ginger Marks,
Ginger Marks, yes.
Kathy McNamara,
Kathy McNamara, yes.
Cassandra Roach,
Sandra Roach, yes.
Laura Baghetti,
Laura Baghetti, yes.
Martha Gordon,
Martha Gordon, yes.
Joan Zukas,
Joan Zukas, yes.
and Lauren Hill.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all. And sorry that we're back on the screen again. We had some availabilities with issues with our tech team, but hopefully the next time we see each other, we'll be back in person again as we were for the last meeting. So any agenda changes tonight? Gail?
Or I think you need to vote on a union chair and vice chair.
Oh, do we do that here?
Union 61.
Do we do that in this meeting or do you guys do it in your own meeting?
No, it's a joint meeting of with union, not
Okay.
61, union 54.
54. Okay, we can do that. All right. So do I have a nomination for chair of Union 54?
I nominate Gail Briere.
Thanks,
I'll
Gail.
second that.
Second.
I'll
Second.
accept.
Yes.
And Gail, do you accept that?
Yes.
All right. Sorry, guys, you're gonna bear with me. We're gonna go through this 2 more times. So this is for Gail Briere as the chair of Union 54. So this is just Union 54 that's gonna vote. So the region gets a break right now. Katie Jacobus,
Yes.
Judy Leck,
Yes.
Steve Leibowitz,
Yes.
Sarah Sherman,
Yes, I must be back up.
Ann Crozier,
Yes.
Devin O'Rourke,
Yes.
Monica Montoya Quintero,
Yes.
Deborah Raymond,
Yes.
Sarah Higgins,
Yes.
Gail Briere,
Gail Breer, yes.
Ginger Marks,
Ginger Marks, yes.
Kathy McNamara, Kathy,
Yes. Sorry.
and Cassandra Roach.
Sandra Roach, yes.
Laura Baghetti,
Laura Baghetti, yes.
Martha Gordon,
Martha Gordon, yes.
Joan Zukas,
Joan Zukas, yes.
and Lauren Hill.
Yes.
And Gail, do you have a vice chair too?
I thought I did, but maybe I don't.
What?
I had been the vice chair, but I did not get called on very much, so, but,
Oh, it's an easy job.
right.
So do I have a nomination for vice chair in 54?
Yes, I nominate Katie Jacobus. If
And
she
do I
wants
have a
it.
Second,
Katie, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
All right, let's go backwards this time, mixed up a little bit. So this is for Katie Jacobus as vice chair of Union 54, Lauren Hill,
Yes.
Joan Zukas,
Oops. Wait a minute. Whoops. Yes.
Martha Gordon,
yes.
Laura Baghetti,
Laura Getty, yes.
Cassandra Roach,
Sandra Roach, yes.
Kathy McNamara,
Kathy McNamara, yes.
Ginger Marks,
Ginger Marks, yes.
Gail Briere,
Gail Brewer, yes.
Sarah Higgins,
Yes.
Deborah Raymond,
Yes.
Monica Montoya Quintero,
Yes.
Devin O'Rourke,
Yes.
Ann Crozier,
Ann Crozier, yes.
Sarah Sherman,
Yes.
Steve Leibowitz,
Yes.
Judy Leck,
Yes.
and Katie Jacobus.
Yes.
All right, we are fully reorganized now. Thank you all for that. All right, now we'll move on to item number 3, which is agenda changes. Are there any to be made? Seeing none, we'll go to citizen speak. Is there anybody here? I don't even see anybody here, so I don't imagine we have anybody that wants to speak, but if you do, let me know. Put up your hand. Okay, so we'll move on to priority business, and the first item on our priority business is the update or report from the core superintendent search committee. So I'm going to hand it over to Martha Gordon and Judy Schumacher, who are chairing that committee, and they're going to provide an update. So take it away. I think Judy, you're going to go first.
I am going to go first. I'm just going to bring you up to date on what's happened since we last met, which was September 20-something, I believe. And at that time, we talked about establishing the core search committee. It's going to be made up of 8 people, one from each of the elementary school committees and 4 from the region. And that took place in October during everybody's October school committee meetings. So I will introduce the members. So I have to go in order, I think. From Wellfleet, it's Martha Gordon, who, as Maura said, is co-chairing it with me.
Excuse me,
and-
Judy. Martha, do you know you're off screen? We're just seeing top of your head.
Yeah, Martha,
Yeah.
we don't even see your eyes.
There you
Oh,
are.
there we
That's
go.
probably a good thing, but it's okay. Can you see me now?
Yes.
I should have written everybody's name down. And then we go to Eastham, Sarah Higgins, Orleans, Ginger Marks, and Brewster is Steve Leibowitz. And then from the region, representing Wellfleet, Chris Easley, Eastham, Maura Noonan Carey, and Tom Fitzgibbons from Brewster, and I'm representing Orleans. So those are the 8 core search committee members. So we did meet first on October 22nd, which was the day after the last member was named. And that was the first meeting. And as we said in our last joint school committee meeting, Gail is the head of Union 54, Maura is the head of the joint, and I, as the chair of the region, continued to work during October as the members were being named to continue to research potential search organizations. And we did this. We gathered lots of material, tried to get some references, dig a bit deeper, and we ended up digging the deepest on 3 organizations. There are lots of organizations you can go to, profit, nonprofit, out of state. We stayed in Massachusetts and stayed with nonprofits, and we looked most deeply at MASC, our Massachusetts Association of School Committees, NASDAQ, I think I can, New England School Development Council, and Cape Cod Collaborative. And we get somebody here. We gathered lots of information, did a lot of checking, and presented this to the core committee when we met. The 3 of us felt recommended that we go with MASC, gave our reasons, but that was just our recommendation. That the decision was fully with the core committee. And I will turn that over to Martha to tell you what happened at that first meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Judith. Just a quick note, sidelight. I don't think there was it wasn't really clear that you guys were recommending any in particular. We came at it and we felt that we were really part of the decision making, and you guys were great about that. You really were. So I just want to say that there was no twisting of arms or any of that. We came in, and Gail and Judith and Moira actually just presented the information for us. So at the first meeting of the core committee, which, as Judith said, was on October 22nd, our goal was to agree on a recommended search organization to bring before you tonight. And after weighing our alternatives and discussing the pros and cons, we were unanimous in our decision to recommend Massachusetts Association of School Committees. And here are some of the reasons, just some of the reasons. First of all, and these are in no particular order, just as I remembered them, they were cost effective compared to the other services that we looked at. And on top of that, they guaranteed that if the superintendent that we hire with their help ends up resigning before the end of their contract, MASC will conduct another search with us at no cost to us. So it's almost like a warranty. MASC also has a plethora of resources and services, both personnel and material resources for us. Just survey samples, questions, all kinds of resources available in terms of listings. If you had a chance, and probably many of you didn't, but do go back and look at it. You received a contract today, a proposal from MASC, and it lists all of the places that MASC has contacts or a way to put out the word, so that we'll have a wide, hopefully a wide choice to look at. Just wide listing services. They're very flexible. They will design the search according to the way the committee wants them to design it, and to meet our needs. And there are lots of choices we can make and things we can ask them to do. But for me, the biggest part is that they're ready to start now. Time is really important. We don't want to get behind the 8 ball. We don't want to be in a position where people are being hired before we even finish the first interview round. So we want to hit the ground running. And thanks to our 3 chairs, Gail and Judith and Moira, we did hit the ground running, and that's a good feeling. So, yes. Oh, and now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Glenn Kuchar to you. He'll address any issues or answer any questions from the members of the Joint School Committee. And Glenn, it's good to meet you.
Thank you, everyone.
Just for those that are new to the committee and may not know, Glenn is the executive director of MASC. And for the newbies, you'll be hearing his name a lot.
And I'll be working with Sean Costello, who is joining us as our new field director in Southeastern Massachusetts. Throughout the process, you're likely to see both of us at one time or another at pretty much every stage of the process. So I'd be happy to take your questions. I will tell you that it is important that we get started as reasonably quickly as possible, but this is the best time of the year to be organizing and mounting a search. Very few searches have started so far. You'll have, I hope, a good candidate pool. People will be interested, I think, in coming to the Cape, or people on the Cape will be interested in the position. Just a few personal thoughts. I encourage you, if people reach out to you, or if you are aware of people that are on the Cape or anywhere in your professional lives or anywhere else who you think would be a good match for the district, in addition to the people that we would recruit or the people that we reach out to, please don't hesitate to pass their names along to me, or to pass our names along to them so that they can reach out to us. When somebody from anywhere is looking for a superintendency in Massachusetts, they go to our website, and they go to the website of the Superintendents Association. And the Superintendents Association will post all of the vacancies from our member districts. So and between that and the network of state school boards associations, people will know about your vacancy. I think some people will be interested for the wrong reason. There are people who claim that they've always wanted to come back east and be on Cape Cod. And, I'm retiring in Michigan, and, I'd like to do 3 years on Cape Cod. How hard could it be? Those are not the people that you want to be interested in, but they are people who inquire. We will show to the search committee all of the candidates who apply. The decisions will be made by the search committee and subsequently by the school committee. The search committee will, as I understand it, Shoemaker, the search committee will consist of school committee members from the various districts in such a way so that you're not violating the open meeting law by having a majority of anyone present on the search committee.
Yes.
That's a very effective strategy that is rarely available to a search committee because there are so many districts. We will be doing a lot of our work in person. Some of you may find it easier to do some of the work by Zoom. We hope to do some focus groups with the stakeholders in the community, meet with the teachers, community members, and others, either live or by Zoom, and we'll be scheduling that collaboratively to make sure that we can get everything in place so that we can get your advertisements out by the middle of November and get your candidates in by the middle of December. and possibly have your interviews done before the holidays or shortly thereafter, so that you can be ready to give the school committee finalists, and that the school committee can act expeditiously and make a decision by mid-January or late January. That will give your new superintendent plenty of time to orient with your outgoing superintendent. And I don't think you'll see very many searches concluding faster than that. Depending upon how quickly and efficiently people want to work, we can move the timeline up as well. I gave you a sample timeline in the back of the proposal. The only thing that can't be changed on a timeline is the closing date. So whatever you decide collectively would be the closing date for applications, that has to stay as the closing date in order to be fair to all the applicants. Not make exceptions for anyone. There are occasions when overnight delivery companies don't deliver overnight, or the post office doesn't get your stuff to us, or the internet breaks down and the applications sometimes go into the Netherlands. Those are exceptions that the search committee is empowered to make. But otherwise, it can be a pretty smooth process. There'll be the development of questions for the candidates. We can assist you in that. We have a large bank of model interviews, but many school committee members will want to be drafting questions on their own, and we can assist you with any of that process. We will be here for your interviews, not because you need adult supervision from us, but because sometimes things can go sideways, and you just want to make sure that we can be there to answer your questions. Usually the interviews are done in person. Occasionally, if you've got people from long distances, you might want to conduct them remotely. You can do that. It's your option. I'd be happy to take or answer any of your questions. And just so that you know, whatever you elect to do as a body, you're still entitled to all the services of MASC that we would provide to any member district. So if you elected to use another service to conduct your search, we would still make available to you the postings, our resources. We have a guide to contracting so that you don't make mistakes in negotiating with your next superintendent. We have dozens of model interviews and sample questions that you can adapt, adopt, rewrite. Nothing that we offer as a member service is copyrighted, so you're free to use it. I'm happy to take your questions.
So if anybody has any questions, let me know. I know you each received a packet of like sample proposal from MASC and some Q&A that was done ahead of time, but this is the opportunity to ask Glenn any more questions that you might have. So we'll start with Carrie.
Here we go. Hi, Glenn. It's Carrie Hoffman. How are you?
Oh, Carrie. Okay.
Yeah. Good to see
I was
you.
going to ask if Richard Hoffman is still alive and well.
He is, but he's no longer involved in education on an administrative level, so it's good.
Okay.
So Glenn, thank you so much. And I would encourage this group to actually vote to adopt the MASC as the search team. Glenn, I know you obviously personally, and know that you not only take really good care of the search committees and the school committee, broader school committee, but also take very good care of the candidates and respectful to all candidates. So that's just something that's very glowing about MASC.
You just want to clarify, we've known each other because of the professional education. We're not related.
No, we're not related at all. You're not paying me to say this either. So that's one thing. The other part of it is, and I was very interested in the timeline, and I'm glad that it's a very timeline that's going to move fairly quickly, I hope. One thing I did notice is that during November, you have proposed to do some focus groups and surveys. And when I looked a little deeper about that, you were looking at community and staff surveys with parents, students, and other community stakeholders, and potentially involving community members and, you know, having a survey that's online so that we can get to the heart of some of the issues that are going on within our communities. And but there's a lot going on. You know, there's overrides that we've been asking folks to pay for. So that's something that communities are very aware of within our districts. And also we're in the process of redoing the regional agreement that hasn't been done for 20 years. So there are things that the communities are already aware of with our region and with our districts. So I wanted to find out about how that would work. And I wonder if you could add to that list, because this is a unique group. We're not just one school committee. We're how many, 30 people that are on this joint committee? Would you involve all of the members of the school committee on some kind of feedback survey in terms of understanding or getting some feedback from all of us about superintendent qualities and things we would be looking for? So big question.
We'd want to organize that stuff fairly quickly, but it is very easy for us to put together an online survey that people can take. We create the survey, we put out a link. People would, we could do 5 surveys for the 5 different districts, or we can do one survey and ask people to identify their role. We don't necessarily ask for names. And you know, the survey program aggregates the answers. I'm a big fan of the open response question rather than multiple choice. When you ask multiple choice questions, I can guarantee all the answers are likely to be very similar. But when you ask people to give you open responses, you start to hear the things that make your district unique among other districts. So we can get those surveys up fairly quickly. We are generally asked to draft something, and then we will send it. Whoever our point person is, it might be Judy, it might be somebody else. We draft a survey, send it to her, send it around, and get it back to us when you figured out what you wanted to say. I'll just say at the start, group editing has been declared by the World Court to be a crime against humanity. And if we have to have 30 editors of a survey or 30 editors of questions, that's going to have a worse outcome than anything you could imagine. So we appreciate the opportunity to take the initiative, send something out to you, or when it comes time to develop questions, we get, we ask the search committee to develop the questions. We'll aggregate them, put them together in a proposed order, make some recommendations, give it to the search committee. It's their survey, it's their list of questions. We just try to facilitate to get the work done. But the survey, this is another interesting observation. In 2024, as opposed to, say, 1990 or 1980, all the adults in the household are generally very busy during the day, and they don't want to go to evening meetings. So we've had focus groups in communities for the community to come out. We do one before dinner, one after dinner, and we get 2 or 3 people who appear. But when we do a focus group with a constituency on Zoom, we get 40 to 50 people. When we put a survey out, we might get a couple of 100 responses. And when you get a couple of 100 responses, you get a really good sampling of the community. So we'd work that out with whatever you have as a steering committee to guide us and do it your way and make sure that everybody gets to weigh in. The other thing that we recommend that is very helpful is once your finalists have been designated, we suggest you might want to invite them to the district to spend a day, culminating with a meeting in the evening with the school committee, but also a meeting late afternoon with the faculty and the community so that everyone gets an opportunity to meet the candidate and interact with them. This is a very important decision, and you have the luxury of not having to speed through it, but to sort of move deliberately. So a survey would be a very, good idea. A survey generally generates well over 10 times the number of people we see live.
Awesome. Thank you, Glenn. All right, Katie Jacobus is up next.
Thank you, Maura. So first of all, thank you to our core committee who has decided to step up for this important job. I know it's time consuming and certainly appreciate those efforts. I think it's really notable that you are coming to us with this unanimous vote in support of using masks for this process. I've got a question somewhat related to what Carrie was asking about, that, I think the more input we get, the better, right? We want to involve all of our stakeholders. Is there any point in time where there is some more formalized, like extended search committee? I happened to be talking to a parent who had served in that capacity. I believe it was for a principal search, where they weren't part of the core committee, but not just an open meeting or an open survey, but that key stakeholders are maybe a little bit more attached to the process. And I don't know if that's part of the plan for this or at what point that might get decided.
Can I answer that?
Sure, you can jump in.
The answer is yes. Yes, we've already talked about it. Definitely, there will be an extended search committee, and we're try to define who will be on it, what roles they're going to get. We'll try to get them in as soon as possible, but that will happen in our third meeting. Yes, but absolutely, we did it before and it worked well. Judy, Katie, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And so I just wonder if, any of us happen to have random conversations, if people express interest, like they explicitly want to be involved, do they contact somebody on the committee? What would you suggest?
You might want to put out a message to your community using whatever vehicle you use to ask people who have an interest in joining the search committee to send a note to the point person expressing their interest. I would just, and this is a fine strategy, and we rarely have search committees that are made up completely of school committee members, because that's generally not legal, except in a very large mix like as you have. But I would encourage you to make sure that anybody that's appointed to the search committee is collegial, cooperative, and interested in getting the work done. Nothing is worse than having someone who is unable to stop talking, or we've had people who the question is longer than the answer. Sometimes there are people with agendas who are single issue people that and then there are some people that just don't get along with other people but want to get involved. They just be really selective about having collegial and collaborative people to join you.
Thank you. Joan Zukas.
Again, thank you to the committee, and thank you for your advice, Glenn. It's really helpful. Are teachers ever, I have a couple of questions. Are teachers ever on the committee? Number two, do you, before even interviews, do you do more than a query? I've had the experience where a query passed on the person, but the FBI check across lines, state lines, did not pan out, and that was not done, and it was a real problem. So at what point is the person vetted, and will people from the committee go to the site, to where that person is working, and be able to talk to colleagues.
Yeah, that generally depends on who the finalist candidates are. Some of them are known,
Right.
so you sort of know you know who they are. They are who they say they are, and they're easy to vet. If they're in Massachusetts, they've been queried. If they've been in other states, they've probably been queried, but we still sometimes worry about whether what they're giving us as their background information is accurate. We also need to find out why they're leaving or why they want to leave where they are, and we do some work into looking at that stuff. I'm trying to remember what the first part of your question was.
Glenn,
teacher
I
being
think, if it's okay, I think it was about teachers being on the
Teachers, yes.
extended committee or on the
Yeah.
on the search committee, and we always have teachers, or we always have had teachers on this extended.
Teachers will appreciate the opportunity to participate. Usually someone from each of the different levels. I will tell you, only because this has happened. Now, I've done 85 searches as executive director, so and my other staff have done more. One thing I can tell you that always happens is immediately when a vacancy is known, the union immediately mobilizes to try to take control of the process. And it's done very skillfully. So what I would suggest is welcome the participation of teachers, but understand that they may be getting instructions from the parent union about who is not acceptable and who is. And some of the instructions that they receive may not be the kinds of instructions that would be of concern to you. In other words, if you've ever tried to privatize the cafeteria or the custodians, the MTA would not want anybody considered seriously for a position as a superintendent. If you've sometimes the unions have used the vote of no confidence as a tactic to sort of threaten superintendents or threaten principals. Do what we want or we'll take a vote of no confidence. And you may have candidates with a vote of no confidence who did nothing more than do the right thing and annoy people for doing it. So and I've walked into meeting rooms and listened to some members of the faculty, often a representative of the union, explaining which candidates are not acceptable to me. And then the parents in the room say, "Oh my God, what does this person know?" And the answer is they really don't know anything that's illegitimate. This person maybe had a rough negotiation over the last contract, or this person might have argued for a different policy than what they were looking for, or perhaps someone was non-renewed as a principal, and their allies decide to follow that person to the end of the earth. That can happen. But if you have good labor peace, and if you have good relationships with your faculty, enjoy the blessing and make it work for you.
Thank you, Gail.
I just wanted to say that all the times that we have involved our teachers in the process, it's been very positive. Typically, they've wanted the same things out of our leaders that we do. So I understand that can happen, but I don't anticipate that would be the issue in our district. I think there are good relations between administration and the union. So thank you.
Thanks, Gail. Any other questions for Glenn before we move to a vote on this recommendation? Carrie?
Just really quick, just to add administrators to the list of folks on the extended committee, the principal or, people who are very knowledgeable about pedagogy, education, and also somebody who's really knowledgeable about finance. I think that's a huge piece. So I'm not quite sure who that should be.
Anybody else? All right. Well, Glenn, thanks for taking the time
Thank
to
you.
answer those questions and spend the time with us. We do, this recommendation, we'll need a motion and a vote. So does anybody have a motion for me?
I move that we contract with MASC to do the superintendent search for 2024-25.
Thank you, Carrie. Do I have a second?
A second. I have a question. Do we do this as a whole?
We do this as the region and Union 54 separately. So like
So
we do.
we need to,
Right, yeah, we do. Yes, thank you for
so
reminding me.
Carrie moved for the region. I'll second for the region.
And then we will do Union 54 after
Okay.
that. So, any
I
discussion
will
from
move.
the
I will
region?
move for, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
We'll come, yeah,
I-
that's okay. Thanks, Martha. We'll do the region and then we'll come back to Union 54 for their vote. Any discussion from the region with the nomination?
Maura, I do. I've been trying to unmute myself.
Oh,
I just
Catherine.
wanted, yes, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, so I am a member of the MTA, and I really, you know, sitting here and listening to the portrayal of the union, I find it a little bit offensive. And I just want to, you know, I feel that, yeah, maybe sometimes there is a conflict between the union and the administration, but the union is for the employees, for the teachers. And I find the portrayal of the union offensive. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Any other discussion before we vote? Okay, for the region, Richard Draper,
Yes.
Chris Easley,
Yes.
Tom Fitzgibbons,
Yes.
Carrie Hoffman,
Yes.
Heather Mashad,
Yes.
Catherine Lonsdale. Okay, Maura Noonan, Carrie, yes. Katie Cole.
I'm going to say no.
Catherine, you're saying no? I missed that. Sorry, Katie.
Yes,
think-
she's saying no.
Okay, and Katie Cole? And Judy Schumacher.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we need a motion from Union 54.
I move that we accept Mask to lead the search committee for superintendent for the next, for 25, 26, 20, to start next year.
Moira Ann Crozier, I'll second that motion.
Thank you both. Any further
Okay.
discussion from Union 54?
Just point of order or question, is
Yep.
this the point where there are just 3 votes per committee,
Yes.
not all of us voting?
Yes, so
Okay.
these are just the voting representatives of each of the elementary school committees for Union 54.
So Sarah Sherman, would you be our 3rd vote? Because Carol Jelinek not here.
Yes, I've been doing the alternate tonight. Yes, that's fine.
Ready to go. Thank you. Thanks, Katie. All right, so Katie Jacobus,
Yes.
Judy Leck,
Yes.
Sarah Sherman,
Yes.
Ann Crozier,
Yes.
Devin O'Rourke,
Yes.
Deborah Raymond,
Yes.
Gail Briere,
Gail Brewer, yes.
Ginger Marks,
Ginger Marks, yes.
Cassandra Roach,
Cassandra Roach, yes.
Laura Baghetti,
Laura Brighetti, yes.
Martha Gordon,
Martha Gordon, yes.
and Joan Zukis.
Jones, yes.
All right, thank you all, and welcome aboard to Mask. We look forward to working with you, Glenn, and your team. Before we wrap up this section, I know Judy Schumacher is going to talk about the core committee's next steps. So go ahead, Judy.
Yeah, so just to let you know what's going to happen now. We are, as everybody knows, well, first of all, we met again last night to continue this. We basically have gone through the vacancy announcement that we used last time, but we've updated it. We used that as a template because this is the kind of information that Mask is going to take to make up a brochure that will form the announcement, all about what we're looking for and about us. So we've done that and have that ready to go out. So they can start, Glenn, you can start working on that tomorrow. We'll get it off to you. So we are going to continue to meet. Martha and I are going to meet with Glenn to iron out some details. I think everybody knows that the mass conference is next week, so he's very busy, but he's going to take some time out to meet with us, and that will be helpful so we can hopefully dot some I's and cross some T's. And then we will meet again as a committee on November 14th, at which time we hope to have this brochure done and finalized, and so that we can approve it, and then it will go out and be announced to the world shortly thereafter. Hopefully not later than the 18th of November. Got to get my months right. The plan would be, per Glenn's suggestion, to have it out for 3 or 4 weeks, and then get the applicants in. So in the meantime, the core committee is looking at the draft survey. We just got it today. We're going to be looking at it, look at the questions, tailor it to Nauset. We are also going to launch a website, not a website, we're going to launch a page on our website where you'll be able to go to get all information, and we'll get that up next week. Taylor Rye is helping us with that. And so there'll be one place where everybody can go and find out how things are going along. And also we have started discussions on the expanded search committee, and we have a pretty good idea of kind of what we want to see, but we're waiting to speak more with Glenn to get the final slots in there. But that's what we're going to be doing. I will make sure that we send out that everybody on the joint committee gets notified when the website goes out, because that's where you'll be able to track everything. And in the meantime, should anybody have any questions, you can zip them to me or to Martha or to any other member on the core committee, and we'll put it on our agenda. And we absolutely look forward to having help from lots of people on this. I think we can tell you from the last time, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of work. There are a lot of things to do. Visits to the district, visits to their district, focus groups and everything else. So there'll be a lot of activity between now and February. And that's it.
Great.
I would just like to add one thing, if that's okay. I just want to thank everybody on the joint committee for being so receptive and trusting the core committee right now, trusting our judgment and supporting us tonight. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Martha. Okay, we're going to move on to priority business B. Katie, did you have something?
Sorry,
No.
just a really quick question.
Yeah.
Judy, you were saying if people have an interest or whatever, send something to you or to Martha. Is there like one point person that wants to be the sort of collector of that, or maybe that's not decided yet? What do you?
No, it hasn't been decided, but I mean, there are only 8 of us. We can get together. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get it together in one place. We have to agree on the slots and then how to go about doing them. I can tell you that last time, for the last search, there was a representative from the central office. There were 2 administrators, one from the region and one from the elementary schools. there were 2 teachers, one from the region, one from the elementary schools. There were 2 parents. There were 2 students. And I think I'm leaving out a group, but I can't remember who it was. But yes. And so we're talking about expanding it. And also one of the things that we're running into is, again, we want to have representation from everybody. But when you've got 4 towns and 7 schools, it's I mean, you know, we can't have, I mean, we can have 4 parents, but they won't represent all the schools. You know, they can represent the towns. So it gets, it starts to grow exponentially. So we're just trying to figure out how to have balance, how to have equity, how to have representation, how to have enough people to help out, but not have a mass that becomes uncontrollable. So that's the balance we're working with, trying to find.
Right. All right. More to come. Oh, Carrie.
Yeah, just a real quick add to that, Judy, if you don't mind. And also, I think because the surveys will be going out, because people will be engaged from not only, you know, parents, teachers, all areas besides having representatives, but in terms of community engagement, and I think you spelled it out really well, Glenn, on your page 6 on number 3, community and staff involvement, that you really, the community members will have an opportunity to respond. I think that's an important thing if we're going to send out a notice. I don't know whether it's to the newspapers, however you decide to do it. I think that piece is really important to help people feel that they're a part of this process, even if it's only by responding to surveys.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Priority business B on the agenda tonight is the transportation subcommittee report. So you may remember that the transportation subcommittee has been reconvened. The lease on the buses is running out. And so this group has been reconvened to take a look at that. And Josh Stewart is the chair of that committee, but he's not here this evening. So I think Judy Schumacher, are you going to give us the update? Ginger is
the
going to give us an update.
The vice chair.
In Josh's absence. So Ginger, let us know what's going on the transportation subcommittee.
Well, you know, I've been told that I'm the vice chair, so I hope I can do this. I'm not a public speaker in front of more than maybe 4 or 5 people. So bear with me if I say anything that is incorrect. If Judy could jump in, or Chris Easley, that would be great. So yes, I was on the original transportation subcommittee, and 7 years ago, we decided to work with Paul Hilton at the collaborative and do our buses and transportation through them. And the cost of buses were, the cost of transportation was going up every year, sometimes by as much as 30%. So we thought buying the buses was a great idea. Propane was what we chose to do because we were told it was the best option. It's the cleanest energy. We weren't really ready to, we wanted to get away from diesel. We weren't really ready to go into electric, and we're still not ready. So we've met twice so far because we have to plan for the future. Once the buses are paid for, they will be paid for at the end of this year. And we originally met, the concept was after 7 years, you own the buses and you save money. And so it's not exactly working out as planned. So we met on October 16th, and then the 23rd, we met with Paul Hilton so he could answer some of our questions. And here's the issue. We bought 28 buses 7 years ago. The buses haven't exactly worked out as we would have liked. And so Paul Hilton is recommending that we start replacing some of the buses because the main issue is maintenance. Maintenance has to be done in Rhode Island because it's a propane bus and we don't have any maintenance anywhere closer than that. The biggest issue is when a bus has to go in for maintenance, it can take up to 3 to 6 weeks for us, and that means one of our buses is out of commission for that amount of time. Let me just look at my notes here. The reason for that is, again, there aren't that many people that do the maintenance. If it's a part that's under warranty, like a fuel line, it takes a long time to order the parts, and it's a problem for us to have a bus that's out of commission for that long. The other issue is the bus sizes. We ordered, correct me if I'm wrong, 53 seat buses, 65, and I believe 71. The 53 seat buses are really not being used enough because they're just not big enough. The reason we got those buses is because we were hearing from our towns that people were seeing buses with, 5, 6, 7 kids on it. And so we went with the smaller buses, but that doesn't work for field trips or for sporting events. The 53s just really aren't being used as much as we had planned. So what Paul Hilton has suggested is that we start replacing some of the 53 seat buses with the 71 seat buses. And again, the biggest issue is maintenance. We can't have those buses out of commission for that amount of time. We were hoping that after the 7 years that we were spending something like $400,000 to have these buses. And Giovanna's not here, so she can't exactly explain this, but we wanted to set up a Nauset capital reserve for the buses so that we could facilitate replacing the buses. So Paul Hilton is saying, keep the propane buses for now. There was talk that we might replace everything. Keep the propane buses for now and only replace them as needed. We haven't decided what that means yet. We don't know if doesn't make sense for us to go to propane. We don't know if we want to go back to diesel or do gas. Electric buses are not really an option for us right now because we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the charging stations. Let me see what else. Well, the next meeting that we're having is November 13th. Because at the end of the day, and actually because I was on the original subcommittee, I don't remember what was promised as far as the longevity. We were certainly hoping that we were going to get more than 7 years and start saving money right away after that 7 years and not have to start replacing buses. So that's, for lack of a better word, a big bummer. And so we'd like to go back to the bus company that sold us the buses and the maintenance people and who else do we want to go back to? The bus manufacturer, the bus sales company, and the maintenance company. We're having a meeting on the 13th. We've invited them to come along and kind of explain themselves because at the end of the day, this isn't really what we signed up for. There's a lot more to this. There's a tremendous amount of information. There's breakdowns of what it costs, the maintenance costs, everything. But I feel like we will know a lot more after we have that meeting with the 3 parties and just kind of explain why are we not going to have, what's the shelf life for these buses? I don't think we should be having these problems with maintenance this early in. We don't think we should have that problem with maintenance this early in. And so we'll know more after that. I'm sure I've missed something. If Judy wants to jump in and say anything or correct anything I said that might be incorrect, that'd be great.
No, just, no, thanks. No, you did great. Your memory is better than mine. But the one thing that, on the maintenance, that I think we got Paul Hilton to clarify is that, it's not that the propane buses need more maintenance than, because I asked them to compare them to the other districts that have.
He said maintenance is on par.
Buses.
Yeah,
It's
the maintenance is on
they
par.
have more maintenance. The problem is the downtime, that it takes so long to get parts that they're out of commission for so long. So it's not the cost of the maintenance, it's the time they're not available for use.
Correct.
So that in itself is costly. The only other thing I would say is one of the other things that the subcommittee needs to do is to, again, we have been paying about $400,000 a year in leases. Next year, in this budget that we're developing now, those lease costs aren't going to be there. but we want to protect that money because we don't want to go to zero and then find 2 years from now, we've got to go back and, use that money for something else. And then we have to go back and buy buses. And then our budgets. So we want to keep some kind of level funding as it goes to the transportation, and not have peaks and valleys of when we go out to get these buses. So one of the thoughts is, and again, this is all just under discussion. We've only had 2 meetings, but if we take that 400,000, but basically we use some of that money to level fund our transportation costs for this year, so that in the coming budget, our transportation will not be going up the 9% that it has before or anything. It will basically be zero. So that will save us some money. The remainder of the funds we will put in a capital reserve account to be used to as bus replacements over the years. Again, that's an idea. That's discussions are so very at the early stages. But those are the kinds of things we're talking about.
Thank you, Judith, for clarifying.
Thank you both. And Ginger, don't sell yourself short. You did a great job of presenting.
And you spoke before 30 people.
I don't know. Is the committee taking questions, or did you more just want to present that update at the moment?
I think if there's anything really pressing, you can ask. I don't know if we'll know the answer, but maybe one of us will.
So if anybody has any high-level questions, the committee will try to answer it. Chris?
Yeah, I don't think it's a high level question, just a question. My understanding was that there were maintenance reports on the buses, and so we would know that some of them were lemons that weren't that good. Was that information available? Would it be feasible then, if we were going to turn over the 50 some odd seaters, that would know which of those buses we should get rid of first?
Yes, we got a 1-page report, but the mechanics are going down into the volumes of pages that are under that to identify if there are any buses that are that they're going to recommend for replacement. And we've also asked them, and what is your standard for, for replacing them? At what point do they fall below the line? And that's what's going to be discussed in the next meeting. Yep, you're right.
Carrie?
Yeah, very quick question. Is there a way for us to get an inventory of what buses we have, what there are, which are the small ones, big ones, propane, gas? Is there a way to get a list of that? Not now.
We have it. They're only propane, and we have them. And
I can tell you what they are, Judy, from what we're
there you
told.
go.
We have 1865 passenger buses, 653 passenger buses, and 471 passenger buses. 1865s, 653s, and 471s.
And one of the things that we were reminded, that a 71 passenger bus will not seat 71 people, because they're 3 seats across, and the seats are made for 13-inch derrieres. And the high school students, some of them will exceed that, as do their tubas and other gear that they take on the bus.
Tom?
Yeah, just a informational question. What is the ballpark price of say a 53 passenger bus or a 71 passenger bus? I don't know if anybody remembers from the history 7 years ago what we paid.
Don't recall.
$93,000 4 years ago, $150,000 this year.
A bus, per bus. Okay.
To purchase the bus.
Okay.
I think the other one, Judy, that was striking to me in that conversation this week. Was it this week? Was it last week?
It's so hard.
At some point in the last 7 days, was that, because it relates to sort of expenses, was that it, and correct me if I misheard this, but it was $75,000 a year to operate. And only 12,000 of those $75,000 per year were related to the purchase price of the capital. That is to say, the majority of that $75,000 annual operation cost is related to labor, fuel, and maintenance. And so we focus on the sticker price of these things. But if you're really trying to plan, you can't just focus on the sticker price.
No, you're correct, Devin. It's $75 for fuel, labor, capital maintenance, just to run one bus.
And the other point they brought up is it costs the same to run the 71 passenger bus as it does the 53 passenger bus. I mean, to run it, the cost to buy it is a little less, but as Devin said, that's not the major cost of the bus. So to run the buses, they're all the same because they all have a driver. They all take fuel. They all, go the same miles. And so we're not saving a lot by having the smaller buses, was the point that they were making.
Okay, anything else?
Just one follow-up, if you don't mind. So there's a lot of information about transportation at this meeting. I mean, a lot of numbers, a lot of great information,
Only
Ginger,
part of
that
it.
you've shared. Yeah, I can imagine. Is there any way, as part of our packet, to just put together a one-pager of just some of the highlights of what you've shared in terms of the numbers and the seats and the 75,000 versus the 12,000? Because just so we can understand it a little bit more, so we can make good decisions when it comes to budgeting.
I think my understanding from the committee was tonight they weren't ready to do that, but I imagine in the future there'll be an opportunity for that. Tonight it was kind of just high level. Let's let you guys know where we are. We still have a lot to do, and I'm sure more of that information is coming. We are definitely trying to get as much information that makes sense to you guys in the packets ahead of time without overwhelming or giving stuff that's not necessary. So that's kind of where we're headed. Gail?
Just a reminder that we would be getting, well, wait a minute. Yeah, just a reminder that we would be getting minutes on this meeting. So the information would be included there. And I do believe that we have a meeting do we have a meeting in December?
For this group, the next meeting scheduled is in January, but
Okay, January.
if things come up, meetings can be called in the interim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just a reminder that we'll get minutes on this meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail. All right, anything else on transportation tonight? All right, so number 6 on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the September 24th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
And a second.
Seconded.
Any discussion on those minutes? Okay, seeing none, we're going to do a roll call vote for this one. So we'll start with the region. Richard Draper,
Yes.
Chris Easley,
Yes.
Tom Fitzgibbons,
Yes.
Carrie Hoffman,
Harry Hoffman will abstain, please.
Heather Mashad,
Yes.
Catherine Lonsdale,
Catherine Lonsdale, yes.
Maura Noonan Carey, yes. Katie Cole,
Yes.
Judy Schumacher,
Judy Schumacher, yes.
and the Brewster School Committee, Katie Jacobus,
Katie Jacobus, yes.
Judy Leck,
Judy Leck, yes.
Steve Leibowitz,
Yes.
Sarah Sherman,
Yes.
East Ham School Committee, Ann Crozier,
And Crozier, yes.
Devin O'Rourke,
Yes.
Monica Montoya Quintero,
Yes.
Deborah Raymond,
Yes.
and Sarah Higgins.
Yes.
Orleans School Committee, Gail Briere,
Gail Breyer, yes.
Ginger Marks,
Ginger Marks, yes.
Kathy McNamara,
Kathy McNamara, yes.
Cassandra Roach.
Cassandra Roach, yes.
Wellfleet School Committee, Laura Baghetti,
Laura Brighetti, yes.
Martha Gordon,
Martha Gordon, yes.
Joan Zukis,
Jones, yes.
and Lauren Hill.
Yes.
All right, thank you all for that. And before we move on to our last agenda item, I do want to thank, I think we can all see by the two presentations tonight from the subcommittees, thank everyone for their participation on these subcommittees. It's a lot of work to keep these things moving and time, and it's truly appreciate the time that people are putting into that. So thank you. Last item on our agenda is adjournment. We'll take a motion and then we'll just wave this one out. So any motion to adjourn?
So
I move that
moved.
we adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, if everybody wants to give a wave to let us know you're good with that. Thank you all again, and we'll see you
Thank you.
soon.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Enjoy Halloween.